All right, welcome everybody to the Key Ministry Idea Share. It is January 2nd, so Happy New Year, everybody. I'm just delighted at how many people are on here today. I know we're not quite back into our regular routines yet, so let's just start it out. Does anybody want to share either what went on over the holidays or what you have coming up or what you're struggling with in this new year? Let's just go ahead and get the conversation started. Anyone?
Well,
Yes,
I guess
Meekins. Okay. Meekins and then
yeah.
Laura.
Okay.
I was going to say, I held back. I actually did. So what we're really looking forward to is building up our community for parents and people that are in ministry to be together. And often the people that are in ministry are also parents, because this is how we get into all this, right? And so we're really looking forward to ramping that up, and wanted to make sure that everybody here knew that we have a community group on Facebook right now, and that we do Zoom calls every month. And they have been intimate. They have been wonderful conversations where people come without an agenda, really, and just, we just start asking questions, and there's always something to talk about. And it's been really fun to see how the parents that are struggling with some of the ministry things and the ministry people coming together, and how some things get resolved just by these conversations, just like what happens here. And it's just been a wonderful thing. So Champions for Parents Community is our group on Facebook. And then if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us at championsforparents@gmail.com.
So I just want to say thank you, because having these kinds of communities, these ways that we can support and encourage each other, is super important. So thank you for the work that you're doing, Tom and Julie. And we will put your Facebook group in the show notes for this, so that people that are watching the recording that maybe aren't as familiar can check it out. So thank you for that. Laura.
Whoops, can you still hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We have a very busy household and people were coming through. So let me plug you in this other room. Okay. Well, I'm just thankful to have found you. And I will be hoping to just glean from you of how to begin this journey. As stated, we have 2 adopted sons, and we just recently started my church is new to me by about a year and a half. But when I asked them to use the church as a facility for a youth, social group, they wanted to take it on as a ministry. And I'm very excited about it, which of course is leading to disability ministry. And when you start to look at one thing, of course, it just mushrooms out. So
right.
I am thankful for everyone that is present here and hoping to learn something. But for Christmas Eve, we did offer a 30-minute acoustic service, and with a very simple message to try and reach the people in the community that haven't been to a church because of their children's specific behaviors or needs, and it was wonderful.
That's awesome. Did anybody else do a specific service on Christmas Eve, like a sensory friendly or something that was specifically reaching out to the disability community? Okay, we did. Well, I'll tell you about it later. Okay. Linda, you're up next.
Yeah, hi. Some might not know, but I have bipolar and Asperger's, and I'm a missionary with an organization called SALT, and we primarily are trying to change the church culture in Ukraine and beyond to accept all, because they don't accept any disabilities, especially visible disabilities. But right before Christmas, my ministry leader and I went down to our partner church. There's a 400 attendee Russian-speaking church in Sarasota, and they want me to come back. The pastor there is dealing with a sibling with some mental health issues, and he was crying when I was giving my brief testimony, and that was very touching. I will be going back to Poland at least 3 or 4 times this year. I'm also been invited to come to Amsterdam to speak to women that have been rescued off the strip. Many of these women are Eastern European, and a friend of mine is like, this will be great for you to come. I've been helping her with some ideas about how to help them with some post-traumatic stress stuff, different things that they can do. And she's very excited about this. So this is a very exciting thing to branch out what I'm doing with my ministry. And I'm also finishing up going to publish a devotional for people with mental health problems for before Christmas and Advent, because it's short. A lot of people with mental health issues cannot do a yearly devotional. They get it just overwhelms them. So Thomas Nelson is very interested in printing it. But of course, since I'm not like John MacArthur, they want like the cost to be covered, which is like a good bit of money, but it's actually not too bad. So I'm going to be doing fundraising for that, but it is promising with this partner church in Sarasota. We're hoping to have a conference and people be able to speak freely about, they see how I see all my afflictions as blessings now, but that take a long time. And the other thing we're doing is my ministry leader is also my boss. So he has a business. And instead of just trying to help me, he's given me employment. And we have spoke at different places, and we're trying to figure out how to branch this out more to churches, to the business leaders in the churches. You can employ these people, and it's not a handout, it's a help up. It gives me stability. Mm-hmm. It gives me some reason to get up sometimes when I don't feel like. But we worked with Uber moms. I don't know if that's like a national thing or whatever, but it was a lot of moms with kids with autism. What are their kids going to do when they're out? And it took me, I'm 52 years old, and now I finally have like a real job. It's part-time, but it allows me to do my ministry, because my ministry is my full-time job. But, we're working on that. And that was very successful. And Timothy saw that instead of just trying to help me or work through me, provide an opportunity for me to work and have, and other business leaders can do this in a church and stuff like that. So that's our other thing that we're working on too.
Wow. Okay. So much there. Okay. So first of all, Linda, thank you. I so value you being here. So Linda's ministry work is amazing. And if you're not following her, I highly recommend you do. We'll put the link in the chat. I think that's what Catherine's doing right now, if I'm guessing right. Yes. And we will put it in the show notes. She's also an amazing photographer, by the way. So you should check out her work. But Linda, you just shared so much amazing information, not just about how God is using you, which he's doing in such incredible ways, but also like some of what the whole mental health inclusion ministry is all about. I mean, even like meeting the needs, the employment need, like this is amazing. So
because ADA doesn't help your kid get a job.
Right.
And that's the whole problem. And there are, like I've been working for him actually not full-time, but part-time since September 2021. And I do my disability, like Asperger's, it was good that I had Asperger's, because I had to keep on calling this guy until he went out to the site, because most people would just give up on that. But you know, and I do work for another realtor, and you know, I have 2 part-time jobs, and you know, as I said, it's really hard when you have a mental health issue. Sometimes you don't want to get up, but if I have a reason, because I have to make sure this gas man gets to the job, it makes me want to get up, and it gives me some structure where sometimes it's hard for me to have self-structure. And I don't think any of the ministries have really thought about this. Like, what happens to these kids when they're out of school? To have productive employment, especially kids that are what is called, I hate that term, because I mean somebody's low functioning, but there's not a lot out there for us. The employment services through the state education departments aren't equipped to deal with somebody like me. I have a master's degree. I can't get a job.
Right.
But now I did have an architect background. I designed my sister's house, and he's an architect. So it's like, I understand some of the things he's talking about, and I love working here. But it's something that I think is, after he was talking about this, I was like, this is something profound for the church community to get their business leaders involved in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your perspective and your experience. It's eye-opening. It really is. And this gives us a lot to think about and to continue working on with our churches, for sure.
Yeah.
Who else
Thank
would
you.
like, oh yeah, who else would like to share what's going on? Al, I'm going to call on Al Faria. I'm going to call on you if you're not going to volunteer, because you've got all kinds of stuff going on. And then, okay, and then Novelli will get to you next.
Yeah, I think last time we met, I just launched a new disability ministry. It's named after my son, John Phillip, or JP, we call him JP's Ability Hope. So that's been going just over a month. Very interesting starting something. And, but yeah, we had quite a bit of money come in for December. So there's some money to work off. And yeah, just trying to think how to go forward in ways to bring hope to people. There's Night to Shine coming up. I just signed up to help with that. February, there's a couple groups I'm working with. One is more employment, and it's called Found Abilities. There's another one called Ability Tree. It's a national brand in New Jersey. They're trying to get stuff going. Northern New Jersey, so I'm part of the lead team with them. But yeah, it's interesting telling the story of the organization. And we had some money come in from sources I didn't expect at all. And so yeah, it's faith building, definitely launching something. And I didn't expect to be doing this at this point, but it's exciting, a little scary as well, but it should be a great year, 2023. So got some trips lined up, hopefully to Ohio for the Key Ministry Conference. And so looking forward to that. And just getting together with people in different places and connecting and getting to know what's happening face to face with people, seeing firsthand. So, and hopefully connecting things together. I like to connect.
Yes, you
So,
do. And he is extremely good at it. Al is like the consummate networker, connector, collaborator, and I love that about him. So it's an excellent skill, and it's really benefited us a lot, I think, because we've benefited from those connections that you've made. So that's exciting. That's good stuff.
I think I've seen half of you in person in the last year, different places. I'd like to get around. So hopefully see Sylvia in Maryland sometime, and in my part of the country. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see what develops this year.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for sharing. All right. Navule, you're next.
Thank you, Beth. Praise God. It's just another opportunity to share with you. And I would love to share about the Christmas weekend that we had on the 16th. Are you getting me?
I can hear, but there's a lot of that. I'm trying really hard.
Or let me try and reduce a little bit now. Hope you can get me now. Sorry for that.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I would like to share about the recap of our Christmas party that we had
Okay.
for persons with disabilities. Well, this time around, our guest of honor was a person with a disability, a 17-year-old boy who was born with a cerebral palsy and Down syndrome at the same time. Now, this boy was put under the bed for some good time by her mom. Unfortunately, the mom didn't know what she was doing. And as a foundation, Quick for Christ Foundation, we had to step in and talk about disability and then share the values, the goals of the foundation. Now, we talked to the community about disabilities. And this time around, we solicited about $78 for this young man. And we bought him gifts, and at least the community got him to know what disability means. Because most of the people around consider disability to be a curse. And that's what we're trying to fight as a foundation, Critical Press Foundation. I'll try to share some of the pictures, if you let me, and so that all the members can have the opportunity to see and observe what really took place. Secondly, we rely on SDG 10. It's called Equity and Equality. SDGs are one of the goals that we do follow, SDG 10, Sustainable Development Goals. And it's what we use to focus on in the community because persons with disabilities are not considered to be people, especially here in Uganda. So we try to fight so hard to see that we eliminate that thinking, and we bring these people on board to help. One of our goals as a foundation is to employ, to get these persons with disabilities, in these big places. Because we find if a person with a disability has a degree in any expertise, they're not employed. They take them to be traveling, which personally I do not believe. So it is really tough here because not so many organizations work with persons with disabilities, which is really challenging and a lot of effort is needed to be put in. Now, I've been talking to local chairpersons around the village to see how we can create a small business, especially when it comes to a salon. At least persons with disabilities can be given opportunities to learn how to cut hair, and eventually they can earn something. Because if we to give them food every now and then, we give them rent, we take them to hospitals, it doesn't make sense. These are human beings that can do things by themselves. It's okay to help them, but it's okay to help themselves. Because at the end of the day, you find that organizations will not last longer or forever to work with them or to help persons with disabilities. So with that, at least we try to teach the community that disability is not a curse. At least these are parts of the population, just like me and other people in our area. So we had a good time on that Christmas party, and we were, by the way, aired on the national TV. And I don't know if you guys can understand the language of Luganda, but it's pretty difficult to understand because it's our local language. But we're aired on the national TV, and that at least went viral, and people are appreciating, at least they're changing their mindset towards persons with disabilities. We do believe in about 3 years' time to come, at least we shall have changed the community of about 500 people, on how they respond to persons with disabilities. I'm really impressed and honored. At least I'm learning so many things from these ideas and sharing. So thank you so very much, Beth, and the members. May God bless you.
All right, thank you for sharing. So I would like to put so Creek for Christ is the organization, and we'll put that in the show notes as well. So you can check that out. But Thank you for joining us from Uganda today. And yeah, I mean, it's like a whole different, there's a level of awareness maybe that we have here, even if it's not complete awareness and acceptance yet. It's a little tougher road to hoe, is that the right word? In Uganda. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for being here today. Who else would like to share? Julie, are you talking? Are you? No. Okay.
Actually, what I was saying was I haven't heard Allison's voice in a long time.
I know. We need to welcome in the new year with that beautiful accent. Tell us something, anything.
I don't feel I've done anything too exciting, though. That's the problem. But my mum did come over from the UK, so
good.
I flew her back home on New Year's Eve, and she's back home safe and sound. So yeah, so I'm probably sounding a little bit more British at the moment.
Okay.
But Happy New Year.
Yes.
No, at the moment I'm just in those throes of, okay, I've been able to relax for a week. Oh my goodness, Night to Shine really is about to happen.
Yes.
Have I got everything organized? And I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about the parking lot. I don't know about anyone else, but that's my stress.
Yeah. So raise your hand if your church is hosting a Night to Shine, which is the Tim Tebow Foundation. Okay. So about half of us. Yes. So I'm having the stress dreams, the wake up at 3 a.m. as well, Allison. So, yes, a lot of things have to happen between now and February 10th. And I just can't stand the weather here in Cleveland sometimes, and that's always like a concern for me. So, yes.
Can I
Yeah, who's talking? I'm looking.
ask, as a new
yes.
person, like where everyone is from?
Did you say where is everybody from?
Yes, and how long their ministry has been in progress?
Sure. So I will call, well, no, let's see, how can we do this? Because I know everybody's screen is different. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll start. Then you can unmute yourselves and say, so Beth Golick, I've been with Key Ministry, I think 6 or 7 years, and Bay Presbyterian Church in Cleveland, Ohio, 10 years. The ministry, each of those two ministries has been going for about 20 years. Allison?
So hi, so I'm the one that's confusing, because although I have a British accent, I'm actually working in a church 40 minutes south of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. So on the Delaware-Maryland border, we have kids in our ministry from the 3 states. I've been doing this role now, I think I'm coming up to my 5th year, and the ministry has been running now for 12 years.
Wow.
All right, Al. Oh, Diana, sorry. We'll do Al, then Diana, sorry.
Yes, Al Feria. I live 20 miles outside of New York City in New Jersey, and I'm kind of a free agent. I work with a bunch of different churches, ministries, some in New Jersey, some around the country. I've been doing this about 7 years now.
Thank you. Diana?
Yeah, I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and been with Community Bible Church for 15 and a half years. And so the ministry's been in place and grown for 15 and a half years. And I do have a quick question on when we can do all this first, a Night to Shine question, if there's time, if we can get.
Yes, we will talk about Night to Shine because we actually have a question about it as well. So we'll come back to Night to Shine. Linda.
Yeah, I live in Centerville, Virginia, which is a little north of Washington, D.C. I go to McLean Bible Church. I've been going there I'm their primary photographer. I've been going there since 2018. I've been serving in Ukraine since 2010. I've been there 30 plus times, mainly on my own, and also other places in Eastern Europe as far as Georgia. the country, not the state. My ministry has been full-time since for almost 3 years now. SALT has been around for about the same amount of time. They're my sending organization. I'm actually not a missionary with them. I'm a strategic partner, slightly different. We don't send out missionaries. I do fundraising, so it's pretty serious. I have about 2,000 recurring donors, which allows me to just get up and travel when I can. I don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta go do fundraising. So, but yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
Thank you. I know I said people can just unmute, but I'm calling on people instead. Sylvia.
Yes, hi. I'm here in Maryland. And I have been the director of the Special Needs Ministry for 14 years. We've had a ministry going. And it's exciting to be in ministry for individuals. Many of the families that serve in our ministry do have children with special needs. I don't have a child with a special need, but I'm a retired occupational therapist, which has been a real asset to the ministry. And I could go on and on and on, but I think that's what she wanted to know.
Mute. Beth, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm suddenly my headphones died. Sylvia is one of the reasons many of us made it through the beginning of the pandemic. So she's awesome. Thank you. Let's see, I'm just going around on my screen.
I haven't introduced myself, sorry.
So I'm mental health ministry director for Key Ministry. I've been with the organization going on 5 years. Before that, I had started a ministry in Richmond, Virginia, where I live, a mental health ministry. Before that, I actually worked for a ministry startup in Richmond, Virginia area for women with eating disorders, and had done just a ton of ministry stuff before that. I've done so many different ministry things for over 20 years now. And in a prior life, I was a vice president in banking, and I know that doesn't compute, but that's the reality. So, and very happy to be part of the Key Ministry team.
She has many gifts, and we're thankful for that. And it looks like Laura dropped off, but we're just going to keep going anyway. So, Meekins.
We are. we started out as a business, encouraging families in the development of their children. Julie was working with parents to teach them the next steps in the development of children. And then in 2015, we had a friend say, "You're a ministry." And we said, "Yes, we are," because we weren't making any money.
Giving everything away, because that's what you do, right?
So since 2015, we started Champions for Parents, and we're official missionaries. There we go. Official missionaries through Reformed Evangelistic Fellowship out of Tennessee, and so that's enabled us to receive donations through them. And we have a website, part of a website there. But our main ministry, Champions for Parents, we're in Virginia. Forgot to say that we're in Lynchburg, Virginia. Very much part of our church, Thomas Road Baptist Church. We don't run the ministry there, but we're a big part of it. Influencers. Julie is extremely active in supporting the moms with Bible studies and gatherings, and I'm here to encourage the fathers, because the fathers, including me, sometimes have a hard time getting out and having the fellowship that we need. So,
and the fathers really do appreciate Tom and what he brings to the table, and he doesn't know that all the time, but they do. And being part of Thomas Road Baptist Church has been such a huge blessing to us because they have given us so much license to do ministry in a large church environment. And they reach out to the community. It's a big community outreach at Thomas Road. And so the disability ministry has been amazing for the community of Lynchburg. And so just to be a part of that is such a huge, incredible blessing. And then to be able to take that ministry, because they have supported us financially and in encouragement to the world, really to the rest of the country and to the world, and be able to support parents in their struggles as they want their children. And I know Shannon really has a heart for this. They want, and Lamar too, they want the church to love people with disabilities. And how do we do that? And so just to have the privilege of being able to help ministry people know, we just want to be part of you all, we want to be part of the church. And so, and that's, a big deal of what we do with working with parents and then helping ministry people know what they need. So it is incredibly wonderful to be a part of Key Ministries Roundtables, because it has lit a fire under me for these last 2 years that we have had the privilege of being a part of all of this. And all of you are an integral part of that, for sure.
Well, we so appreciate you. I also have to point out that these two have the most amazing skill of being able to be in the same window of a Zoom call, because I have tried to do that with my husband and it doesn't work. So great job. So I love that we have several really big churches represented on this call and in our idea shares. And then we have small churches as well. So Shannon, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
And just to say, I can barely fit into my own screen, so I appreciate the Meekins. And I can say that because I know me. But I'm Shannon, full name Shannon Blosser. I'm an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church, which means I'm the senior pastor of whatever church I go to mostly. So I'm the lead pastor of Pea Ridge United Methodist Church in Huntington, Best Virginia. Also known as West Virginia. For those of you who are from Virginia, we're Best Virginia. So I have been a pastor, depends on how you define it. If you count my internships and all of that, probably since 2009, so was that 13, 14 years ago? Time flies. But really been doing a lot of the advocacy work since I started at this church. There was a couple kids here before I got here that were on the spectrum. Then my son's on the spectrum. So we've been focusing in on just how to do some basic things in the church, but also been doing a lot of work on advocacy and writing and just talking about what do I experience as a pastor when I walk into a church, and just being open about that, of that experience of seeing things from both sides, the pastor side, but also the dad side and the parent side. So it's been a unique role and unique go at it, and starting out an offshoot of all of this called the Autism Inclusion Mission, where I'm going to focus a lot more of the advocacy and writing work. So I love it and love speaking to the small church. So that's my passion.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you and your insight and your experience. And he's a great writer. So I encourage you to check out his blog. I think is it shannonblosser.com?
.com.
Yeah.
It helps that I used to be a journalist in a former life.
Okay, well, again, using those gifts, that's good. All right, and I think, let's see, Navuli, if you could let us know well, we know you're from Uganda, and how many years you've been in ministry.
Well, I'm called Navuli Emmanuel from Uganda, East Africa. I started ministry when I was 19 years, but it wasn't my ministry. I've been working with different churches about disability, and I started with Jesus Worship Center. It's a small church located at the heart of Kampala, where I started to volunteer. And later on, in 2020, joined LASH, an organization called LASH. It's all over the world. And I acted as a co-worker for about 8 months. Noted till I prayed to God and asked for directions. He later led me into Christ Foundation, where I gathered a number of young people, telling them about disability and what I had learned from these other ministries. We started by 4 in number. Then we later got to be joined by other older people along the way. But we've been doing this through spreading the word and through giving. I started looking at single mothers, especially with children with disabilities, because here if a husband or a man impregnates you and then you happen to give birth to a kid with a disability, they tend to run away and they let you be as a single mom. Having grown on a single mom, I know what single mothers go through. So we started a program of laundry door-to-door project where women are given opportunities to wash for different homes. At least by this, they earn between $5 to $8 per wash. If they wash for you a heap of clothing, give them $5 to $8. And this at least provides food to their kids with disabilities, because this is our target. And we make sure that they deliver to these kids and we make them love them. We not only do that, but we provide we provide. I don't know if you can get me well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just messaged him in the chat. It's a little hard to hear because of the background noise. I'm having a hard time hearing.
Oh, so I've gotten a good place. Can you hear me well?
Kind of.
sorry. Let me try to be louder.
That's good. You're good.
Yeah, so we created a project where women wash clothing in different homes, and they're given between $5 to $8 per wash. Our target is not these women to get the money, but at least to provide necessities like food, clothing, and medical attention where necessary, because persons with disabilities need to visit hospitals for therapies and other different prescriptions. So having done that, at least I've gotten some experience in my community, and it's only our organization doing this work. So it's a bit intense to stretch our hands, reach in different parts of the country. Uganda is still backward and a third world country. And taking the gospel and enabling the communities get to know persons with disabilities is pretty hard. So I've done this for about 8 years, and I thank God. I thank God that I'm learning more and more and more. So that's who I am. Thank you.
Well, we're all learning. We're seriously, I learn something new from my colleagues on here every single month. So thank goodness we're all learning.
You will have to forgive my English because it's pretty I don't know, it's hard to speak the way you guys speak.
I think it's actually really great. So I'm impressed. I'm gonna switch topics for a second because I think we've all had a chance to introduce ourselves, and maybe Laura will watch the recording since she had to drop off. But Diana had a question about Night to Shine, and also Nuvali did. First of all, what it is. So the Tim Tebow Foundation, which is an international organization, is the sponsor of Night to Shine, which is a prom type event that happens on the Friday before Valentine's Day at literally hundreds of churches around the world. And it's for people with disabilities, ages 14 and up are the honored guests. And it's an amazing volunteer opportunity. It's just an amazing community outreach opportunity. It is a ton of fun. It's really amazing. If you look at the videos from previous years, it's just a really special event. So looks like half of our churches are part of it, and they do happen all around the world. So Diana, you had a question or a comment or something about it.
Yeah. We've been doing it. We did the Shine Through Parade last year. We, of course, did 2020, 2021, we took off, and we had done it 3 years prior to that. And we were really blessed. I mean, I tried to get almost everything donated. And we had a wonderful florist, and she always did all the corsages and boutonnieres. And unfortunately, she passed away and sold her florist shop, and it's no longer affiliated with the new owners. Don't go to our church. There's not, anything really there. I talked to them briefly, and they weren't really interested. So this is the first year where we've really had to deal with what to do, because the Tim Tebow Foundation requires that every honored guest has a flower. And we didn't really get going soon enough, I don't think. And I just feel like we are going to end up having to spend a lot of money. And I'm just curious as to any ideas that any of y'all do to keep that cost down, because this one member of our church first came in at $15 each. 200 people, that's like $3,000. No, that's half our budget. And so she did come in at $750, and I'm like, still, that's too high. So any ideas anyone has, I just would love to hear them.
Yeah, so I can tell you, so the first year that my church did it, we had, yes, so flowers is one of the mandatory, whatever they call it, but there's certain elements that you have to have as part of your night to shine, and that's one of them. And so we did the fresh flowers. We had a significant amount donated for that. Then, so that was 2020, because if you all recall, February 2020, Night to Shine was like the last event that happened before the world shut down, right? So then 2021 and 2022 were both virtual events. So what we did was we had a bunch of people get together, socially distanced, get together and make paper corsages. They're beautiful. They look like real flower corsages and boutonnieres. A heck of a lot cheaper than fresh flowers. And we did it because we needed to be able to deliver them at random times throughout the week, because we were doing door drop-off kind of things. So then this year, knowing that it was going to be a live event again, we talked about it. Do we want to do fresh flowers or do we want to do paper again? And we really felt like the paper ones people can keep forever as a memento. It does allow us to do, if we want to deliver ahead of time, because there will be some people who will have to, bow out last minute or whatever. And it saves a lot of money. And so we did that, but it's a lot of work, but you have a lot of people. Yeah, so they look amazing. They look just like real ones.
So did you is there a YouTube, or how do you know how to make these things?
So one person on our committee kind of took charge of it, and she learned how to do it from YouTube. Now she works in a florist shop, so and she's kind of crafty to begin with, but so she figured out how to do it. And then she kind of was the coordinator for everything. So she she purchased the supplies, and we as a committee got together and packaged up the kits. And then we hosted a couple of flower making workshops, and people showed up and she walked them through it. And I'll tell you what, a bunch of high school boys, that you wouldn't think that would be, they were the best at it. They really were. So it was kind of a fun way also for people to get involved and to contribute their time, their volunteer hours, other than just the night of Night to Shine. And other than just asking florists for donation, to donate some of their supplies, I don't know, or get a sponsor for it or whatever.
No, that's very, very helpful. I mean, and we still have time to we could make that happen. I like the paper flowers, so.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah. Yes, Linda.
If you have any Ukrainian orphans that have been adopted by your church, they're very good at origami.
Oh, okay.
Because they have, after lunch, they need to sit on their bed for like 3 hours. So my nephew can make any, like a napkin, he can make stuff out of.
Wow.
They just sat, and you're right. I mean, you can find people that need to get community service hours for their high school. And you can go to local, like Michael's, you can go to their website, find out where the donation stuff is. You talk to Costco, Target has that stuff. We got stuff from Target to take to Ukraine. You can talk to your kids ministry, maybe they got some stuff left over. Because sometimes, but yeah, I mean, if you find some kids that do origami, they can put this out in no time.
Yeah. And you don't have to, if you're crafty, it helps, but with the right instruction, you can walk anybody through it. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yes, Meekins. Julie.
I know you're talking about Night to Shine right now, and I don't want to stop that, but I do want to hear about your sensory friendly.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
thing.
let's cut over to that. And then it'll be the top of the hour. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes. So our church did a like a sensory friendly service. It was supposed to be Christmas Eve. So it was supposed to be separate from the family service and the other 2 worship services that were happening on Christmas Eve. And then for those of you who live anywhere near Cleveland, you know that the weather really tanked and it was awful and it was freezing and horrible. And so we ended up postponing it to Christmas Eve, which actually I was kind of thrilled about in a way. It was a long day for sure, but it was great. It was at 2:00 in the afternoon. So my vision for this was, so it was not in our sanctuary. It was in a smaller sanctuary type setting, but it was a smaller room. I wanted it to be more intimate. I wanted it to be for families, not just our Sunday morning families, but any family in the community that attending a regular Christmas Eve service would just not be in the cards. And so what made it sensory friendly? So we didn't do, anything crazy with lights. It was, the music was a piano and a violin, and a singer, like basically. The message was very accessible. So every guest got a bag and it had some elements in it. And you might, for those of you who have been around a while, this was actually the plan for 2021, Christmas 2021. And then some on staff got COVID and we had to cancel the whole thing. So, so it's literally been in the works for 2 years. Okay. So, we taught, so a pastor and I taught the lesson in a very accessible way. We had these little objects in the bag so that when we talked about creation, they pulled out a squishy ball that looks like the earth. And we talked about creation, and we had a worship scarf in there, and just some other manipulatives that went along with the lesson. And the lesson was the Christmas story, but as part of God's big story. So we had between 40 and 50 people total, not families, but people. We had some families that I thought would be there because they don't miss the thing that, that they're like our regulars. But we had some people that I wasn't expecting, which was really cool. And I loved it. It was just a wonderful time. My favorite part was when one of our Sunday morning students, the other thing that made it sensory friendly, we set the tone from the beginning, like, this is a no shush service. If you need to get up and walk around, that's fine. Whatever, just be comfortable. And one of the students came up, and I was on like a little stage kind of thing with the pastor, came up and just laid down at my feet during the service. And her mom started coming up, and I was like, no, it's good. Like, this is, it was, I don't know. It touched my heart. It was a wonderful time. And I really want to make sure we do this more. So it's fun. Yeah, Shannon.
Can you like share the order of worship that you did and like some of
Yes.
the worship notes? Because
Yes,
I'd be
I
curious
will.
about even modifying that for a smaller non-Christmas Eve service.
Yeah, and now that I've done this experience, and I'm not a pastor, but it's fun to teach with my people, so it was great doing this team teaching thing with the pastor. I want to do more. Like, it was really fun, and just to have that interactiveness, because we don't always get to experience that. Yes, I will definitely, I'll share it with you. Yeah, I'd like to try, let's collaborate on something, because I would like to try something like that for Easter too, because again, there's families that they're not going to be able to come to a regular Easter service. So, all right. Well, wow. This has been great. I was like, oh, I don't know who will come, what we'll talk about, but look at us. Okay. So, lots of stuff coming your way, people. Later this month, we will be opening up registration for Disability and the Church 2023. So stay tuned for that. Yes. And we will be working on putting some other events, roundtables and such, on our events page, keyministry.org/events. And oh yeah, and Key Ministry just celebrated 20 years as an organization. So that was on Christmas Eve. So happy birthday to us. So yay. All right, well, have a good rest of your week. Thank you for kicking off the new year with me, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.